Good evening, everybody. Hello and welcome to Sports Today. And it's very, very obvious why I'm so chirpy today. अगर आपने अपनी आंखें थोड़ी देर के लिए भी बंद की हो पूरे मैच के दौरान, so let me tell you, you missed one wicket. That's exactly how this match was. It lasted about 140 odd overs, and there was plenty of action, which obviously went in a lot of India's way. With that, before I move to my expert, let me show you what how that happened for us.
क्या आप भी किसी अपने सपने मेरे तुम्हारे टीम 11 पे टीम बना रहे हो और बच्चों के साथ खेल रहे हो? हमारे साथ खेलोगे? हाउस पे खेलो लेजेंड्स के साथ, हमें हराओ और जीतो डबल कैश. लॉग ऑन टू houseat.com and win real cash.
Well, congratulations to Team India as they win by 10 wickets. With that, let's celebrate in sports today. I've got Borya Majumdar, Rajasthan Gupta, Pragyan Oja, three gentlemen who are happy. One is nibbling on chocolate, the other one, and the other is high on life. Let's just count it like that. That's how the day has been for India today. I'll start with you, Pragyan, because it has been an out-and-out day for the bowlers. Obviously, for Ashwin, a huge day, and there you have a legend, and there you have an Axar Patel who is a very promising future. What did you make of our bowlers today?
Our bowlers were brilliant, the way they bowled. Yes, but if you see the line and length, every ball that Ashwin and Akshar were bowling, it was hitting the stumps. When you're playing on a turning track, when you're playing on a seaming track, when you see the movement on the ball turning and jumping, it is easy for you to get distracted. But our bowlers, they focused on the line and length. Every ball they wanted the ball to hit the stumps. That's when you get the LBW, and that's when the ball which turns away or comes in will be more effective. That's what our bowlers have done. If you compare it with Jack Leach, that is the difference. What I felt, and they were spot on. Our bowlers, yeah.
Not just if you compare it to Jack Leach, but also Joe Root got a 5 off, and even we're having such a yet India managed to pull off its show. Yesterday we were talking a lot about the pitch. And of course, the pitch is, of course, acted up again, and we were talking about how the English media has said that the pitch is not right. But we also had a debate point as to is it wrong to maximize your home ground?
No, I'll just one thing. One thing I want to add. Please talk about Stuart Broad's 8 for 15 runs, the wicket that he was bowling, and he got 8 for 15, his best in his career. What kind of a wicket was that? So if the test match finishes in 2 days or 3 days in seaming condition where there is grass, that's absolutely fine. But the moment when it starts turning and bouncing, that's when you say it's not a 5-day wicket, it's not a test match wicket. Boss, definition of test match is you have to be tested on any surface. It is not written that you will be only tested on seaming track and not on tracks which is assisting the spinners.
Right. Well, also, I mean, we're going away from the celebration a little bit, but also yesterday I heard in commentary, I think James Strong said that it does not look like day one pitch. What exactly is a day one pitch?
So even about 15 minutes back, Graham Swan said this looks like a day 4 pitch. Fair enough. If it does look like a day 4 pitch, so what? So the track that India has oftentimes played on in the past, and if you actually go and ask Sunil Gavaskar some of the tracks that India played in the 1970s, in recent times in New Zealand, in recent times in England, in recent times in Australia, they may well look like the day 3, day 4 pitch. So how does it matter? The fact of the matter is you have to have the skill to be able to play spin bowling. How many wickets did you beat? Did we beat you by? 10 wickets. We've not beaten you by 1 or 2. We've beaten you by 10. 10 wickets. The Adelaide Test match finished in 2.5 days. Are you saying the pitch was bad? Are you saying India batted poorly? We lost the game. Did anybody say? Did we on Sports Today ever say, you were there on the show, Pragyan Oja was there, Rajarshi was there, Deep was there, did we say even once that India, the pitch was horrible? No. We said India played poorly, India lost the game. See, frankly, I don't take the English media seriously. They are not an index. The English media is not something that we need to take seriously. Take our own media seriously. Take our own people seriously. I am more concerned about them. Because you will see a lot of our own people trying to become holier than thou and say, "Arey pitch, shame hona chahiye." अरे भाई क्यों शेम होना चाहिए? होम एडवांटेज यूज किया, बेटर खेला, जीत गया। टॉस किसने जीता? इंग्लैंड ने जीता ना। तो कंडीशंस का बेटर यूज किसने किया और किसको करना चाहिए था? इंग्लैंड को करना चाहिए था ना। टॉस तो इंग्लैंड ने जीता। So they had the better use of the surface in terms of what they wanted to do. They did. Why did they not win? Because they do not have the players to be able to cope with the surface. They were still mentally in Chennai. India was physically and mentally both in Ahmedabad, while England was still mentally in Chennai. Now, you had the better use of the conditions. You had the better luck of the draw. Even then, you've been beaten by 10 wickets and you're complaining about the pitch. I don't think England will. For that matter, I don't think Joe Root will. Whether anybody says this is a fine, it's a day 4 pitch. It is a day 4 pitch. So, play like a day 4 pitch. No. Play how you will play in a day 4 pitch. Don't try and defend Ben Fox at number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10, number 11. You will play 50 odd balls and score 5 runs. Is that how is the way to play with the tail on a day 4 wicket? The way to play on a day 4 wicket is do something. Get Ben Stokes up the order. Get Johnny Bairstow down the order. Get a left right. Try and upset the Indian apple cart. Did you see the way India attacked? Did you see the way Shubman and Rohit attacked? Do that. No. Try it. The fact of the matter is very simple. Unfortunately for us, even when we win, there is a section of us who will say, "Arey bhai, pitch ke liye ye ho gaya." Kuch nahi hua. India beat Australia in Australian conditions. And by the way, there are some senior journalists who have already tweeted, green tops will await us in England. So be it. कब किसने मना किया इंग्लैंड को ग्रीन टॉप्स बनाने के लिए? कि कब नहीं बनाया? बनाने दो ना. Our bowlers will again create chances. It will be the batsmen who will decide. In Australia, we've seen that we've got the batting, we've got the courage, we've got the heart to win test matches overseas. So again, it will be a test. And if we lose, we will criticize the team that they have not been able to adapt. We will not say it's because of wickets.
Interesting. Now, it was a big toss that England had won, and of course, India made it count. Having said that, Durada, on just exactly what you said, you got a comment from Amin Pradhan, and he's asking, Durada, leave aside this pitch, but tests barely go for 5 days in India. Is it that the pitches are actually bad, or the overseas team are not skilled enough for subcontinent pitches?
Because you got to master subcontinental wickets. Okay, now let us actually break this down. When you are saying this, how many days did the Chennai first test go? How many days? Tell me. It went 5 days. Okay, it went 5 days. So now let's go back. Let's go back to pink ball tests in Australia has lasted 2.5 days. Eden Gardens lasted 2.5 days. This one also 2 days. No team has been, at least us and England, we have been able to master the pink ball. Did this pitch behave as much as it did in Chennai on day 2? The first test, the second test? No. They were not able to read it. The pink ball bounced, the pink ball, the way it went straight. Look, in subcontinent, you will have subcontinental wickets, which will turn. You have to have skill. In New Zealand, you will have green wickets. Think of what India got last year, and India lost the toss. Did we lose in 3 days or not? Now, will you tell me that, oh, you know what, Boryada, 3 days we lost, 3.5 days we lost? How can New Zealand create tracks like that? That's the whole challenge. That is why a Virat Kohli or a Rohit Sharma or a Sachin Tendulkar. Today I spent a couple of hours with Saurav Ganguly and we were talking about Sachin Tendulkar's batting in away conditions, in Perth and stuff like that. Why is he's the greatest? Why is Virat Kohli the greatest? Because he scored those 300s in England in 2018. Because he got 400s in Australia in 2014. That is why you become great, and from great to greatest. It is not about the wicket. Master the wicket. Sunil Gavaskar got 96 in his last test match on a minefield in Bangalore. That is why he's Sunil Gavaskar.
Interesting. All right. I hope that answers Amin's question. Having said that, hi Rajashri. Rajashri, England is out of reckoning for the finals at Lords for the World Test Championship, which Burada also on this particular show had mentioned may or may not happen at Lords. So what does this defeat actually mean for England?
They're out of the World Test Championships. That's for certain. They're knocked out. So India will need to either win this one, or it's 2-1 was enough for India to get through, or 3-1. I mean, look, if it's an England victory, then it's going to be Australia, I think, will slip through. But I don't think that's going to happen. Like Gori also already spoke about it in the mid game segment that we were doing. He spoke to several members of the team management, and they said, look, we're coming back 3-1. And I think, look, it's, in all fairness, it's looking really, really tough for England to come back. And we've been speaking about their skill set. We've been speaking about their mindset. It's like they're not there. They were not even there. Joe Root's 5-4 maybe that sort of triggered the Indian victory. That maybe acted as a catalyst on hindsight for this game to get over inside 2 days. Who knows? Maybe if he had not come on the ball, not taken those many wickets, maybe India would have batted a little longer and we would have had a result tomorrow. But and the way the English fielders reacted, like Joe Root animated, Stuart Broad. I mean, Ben Stokes grasped that catch. I know there was a lot of debate whether they should have looked at 4 or 5 angles, but there was just one angle, right? It only needs to be there needs to be conclusive evidence for the third umpire to overturn a soft decision on the field, and that first frame was conclusive decision. So I don't know what the hoo-ha was all about. It's just that England is really bitter on their part. But having said that, this victory will, in the long term, one, World Test Championship, and two, like we keep saying, what this victory means for England is that we are out of reckoning for the World Test Championship final. India are in the fray, and it also goes on to show how remarkable this team is. Just hats off to the way these guys fight back. It's unreal to see a team consistently keep doing that.
Also, how remarkable was the team selection for this particular pitch, for this particular test? I think that is where we owe this. Yes, Burila.
Good question.
Sorry, you were saying something.
No, yeah, I said good question.
Yeah, how remarkable was the selection of this particular team? You had one particular captain who went in with one spinner, and then you had the other captain who goes in with 3. Clearly, the reading of the pitch, the ground, the match, everything of our skipper was way on point, Pragyan. I'll start with you. Team selection on point for Team India for the conditions that were offered.
Good question.
I think that's spot on. Virat was spot on there, and he went with 2 specialist spinners and a batsman who could bowl. I felt it's more so because Washington Sundar offered little more batting, more stability with the bat than the ball. That's how it is, and maybe it was pink ball test. That's the reason Virat must have thought that if we need someone to turn the ball, we have Sundar, and this guy can bat. We have a long batting lineup. So he was spot on there. And yes, England badly missed another spinner. They could have played another spinner because Joe Root coming and bowling, getting that 5-4. Yes, it's good. Looks good on the board as a record, but can he do it consistently? No, he can't. When Indians were chasing 49 runs, Joe Root gave those free deliveries, bowling outside leg stump, because he's not a man who can bowl consistently on the stumps and create that kind of chances. I was thinking if they had 2 spinners, at least that 49 would have been India, maybe with the way the ball was doing, maybe they could have lost 1 or 2 wickets if they had 2 spinners. But I think with 1 spinner, Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill knew exactly what they had to do.
Right, and Borera seemed very, very pleased with the selection. I saw your tweet, Borera, about the team selection on the first day. You seemed really, really pleased with it, and of course, we did a good job with it. And why would England go with 1 spinner? And what are the options that they could have explored?
Because this whole deal about pink ball means fast bowlers. So that was the mindset. Mentally, they were still in Chennai and they got it wrong. So Rohit Sharma came to the press conference, if you remember, and said he expects it to be a turner. The Indians, Virat Kohli, the pre-match press conference said it will turn. When it will start turning, he was not sure, but he said it will turn. Spinners will come into play for sure. Tell me, how many overs did Stuart Broad bowl? How many overs? How many overs did Jofra Archer bowl? So you got it wrong. Why did you not play an extra batsman? You could have, because if you were treating Joe Root. So look, England might complain about the pitch, the media might complain about the pitch, but the fact is you got your team selection wrong. It's proven in front of you. If it was a turner, somebody asked you to play 4 fast bowlers, is it? You clearly got it wrong. And that is why the result is 2-1. And frankly, and I keep saying this, Anil and Bajju or spinners previously also, go back and check. In India, you will get turning wickets. You will. That is the challenge of the subcontinent. The fact that Kevin Peterson got that 186 against a top-class Pragyan Ojha and Ravi Ashwin, England managed to beat us in that 2012 series. Ask Pragyan how good he was. Because Pragyan Ojha and Ravi Ashwin finished them off in the first test, bowling like champions. To be able to beat us, it took a lot of skill. That is what this England team is lacking at the moment.
So that is That is exactly what I want to shift gears to because, of course, we've been talking about the match, we've seen it, and yes, India won, one more test to go. But today is a special day for Ashwin. And I think we should share stories each about Ashwin. And let's just start with you, Pragyan. Your camaraderie with him and the kind of man he is, and how would you want to congratulate the man on reaching 400 test wickets?
I think it's a brilliant thing. I watched him play right from our under 16 days. I've seen Ashwin the batsman transferring to Ashwin the one of the greatest off spinners for our country, and getting 400 wickets in 77 games. No matter what, it is bloody good. That's how he is, and he's always evolved, and the way he adapts to the situation, that is something everybody should learn. I've seen a lot of cricketers. They talk about the limitations, but Ashwin, the biggest strength that he has is he adapts, and then he plans himself to play on conditions which are not favoring him and how best he can use them. That's how he is, and that's why everybody calls him a scientist, or as in Indian team he's known as one of the most like a professor. So I'm really happy for him, and I wish he goes and gets close to Anil Bhai's 600 wicket.
Now that you mentioned that, we actually have there's a stat that we have about Ravichandran Ashwin and how he stands against the legends. If we can take a look at that, and meanwhile, if Boreta could share an interesting story about Ravichandran Ashwin for all our viewers, because that's what's going on in the comment section. Boreta, do you have an interesting story about Ravichandran Ashwin?
Several. But before that, Rajoshi, why don't you are the statistics champion, take a look at England in 1992-93. 3 times they played again. That is what I was doing. Each time was a follow-on. 92, that Azharuddin series at the Eden Gardens, and I wanted to check. Go check how many times over the years England have consistently failed against spin. And you will have your answer. See, that's what it is all about. I mean, you go to Rajoshi after this, but I'll tell you my Ravichandran Ashwin story. One time, not one, there are several. So Ravichandran Ashwin is doing this interview with me at CESC house, which is RPSG house, Sanjeev Goenka's office, when he was playing for his IPL team. Now, the whole thing has been set up. Now, this is Ravi Ashwin. That's why Pragyan Oja said he's scientific. Now, there are these 2 flower tubs out there. Now, Ravi Ashwin starts to decide how the set will look. He adjusts the flower tubs. He adjusts the seating arrangement. He tells me this angle will look better. He walks up. He does everything. And I'm just sitting there enjoying myself. And then he says, from there, somebody can, because it's an office space, that door will come in your frame. So somebody will come out of that door. Don't sit here. Move. Ravichandran Ashwin could well be a rocket scientist if he was not a cricketer. And I have no problems. I've said it. You were not there in the dinner break show, and I told Rajesh he can be 2 things with him. 2 things. One, he can be the second cricketer BCCI president after Saurav Ganguly because he has the panache to be that. Does he have the political knack? Because he's a straight talker. Can he sort of get the votes? We'll have to wait and see, but he has the leadership ability like Saurav does. Number 2, he will be an extraordinarily good commentator if he decides to take up commentary because he's a fantastic reader of the game and he will speak his mind. So post-retirement, which is 4-5 years down the line, I hope he gets 619 and gets past Anil Bhai. If he does, he has tremendous opportunities opening up for Ravichandran Ashwin. And now that his wife is also on social media, the pair will make it really. Ashwin will give you headlines, and that is the good thing about Ashwin.
Beautiful. He's already making headlines. Rajashri, what is the headlines you got for Ravichandran Ashwin apart from, for 100 tests?
Rajashri, give us 4-5 Ashwin headlines. You are the
Give us a
champion.
headline, yeah.
I'll give you a couple of Ashwin headlines, the spin master, the twirler, but I'll tell you this other interesting fact, this other interesting stat. This is the shortest completed test match in India. We're going back, we're digging into a lot of numbers since the Second World War, whether it's since 1935 in terms of other formats of completed matches, but this is incredible. R. Ashwin, yes, he's a champion, right? I mean, he's ruled the roost with his finger spin. When we were going through those numbers, like Boria mentioned a few of those numbers, and it's not surprising the way that the Englishman capitulated against spin. Look at, he mentioned 1992, 93, 2012, how Pragyan and Ashwin toppled them in the first test. That was kudos to the way the Englishmen played. Also, the fact that, you were up against a team which did not have Ravindra Jadeja. Shabaz Nadeem, obviously, he had, obviously the pitch in the first 2 days was in Chennai. It was almost like a flat road where Shabaz Nadeem sort of struggled and the spinners kind of struggled to hold their own, and the Englishmen make the most of it. Good for them. But it is just completely, and there's so much talk about spin turning conditions, turning pitches. Are we going to now invite visiting teams and say, look, what pitch do you want? And by the way, are visiting captains blindfolded when they come and see the pitches? Imagine when Joe Root was taking 5 wickets, when Ashwin was picking up all those wickets, 2 off spinners doing well in this game, Dom Best sitting in the England dressing room and probably chewing his fingernails, imagining what he could have done. Itching, his fingers would have been itching, right, to go and have a ball out there. So it's just absolute harakiri from the England teams. And on Ashwin, yes, we're going to burn the midnight oil, Boria, Ridhima, Pragyan, to celebrate this man, because Axar Patel was special, but Ashwin, the champion, he needs to be celebrated, and we're going to spend that burn the midnight oil, try to come up with those snazzy headlines in the morning. You'll see several on it.
But you know what? While we are celebrating him, I want a different take from Pragyan on Ashwin Ridhima. For me, what is important in a cricketer is when you are down in the dumps, do you have the resilience to come back? And Ashwin was. In Australia, Ravi, for example, was on record saying Kuldeep is our go-to spinner in overseas conditions. He was. Kuldeep picked a fifer. Ashwin did not pick wickets in South Africa. The media blasted him. We were all there. We were all critical of Ravichandran Ashwin. To be able to come back, do it overseas, and he's not done it in India. Pink ball Australia, he's done it there as well. Do it with the bat and the ball. Make a comeback at this age when he's 30 plus. Come back in white ball cricket also. Many people have written Ashwin off. IPL. That's what tells you that the way he's enjoying his cricket tells you why he's a champion. For me, I am tremendously respectful of people who can still do it when it's their bad day. When it's your good day, you will be a super banker, Ridhima. We know that. If it's your bad day, you are not having a good day. You are making mistakes. Can you still deliver a show for me? When Pragyan's having a bad day, can he still pick a fifer? Can Rajashi still produce a piece? Can Ashwin still get you 4, 3, 4, 5 wickets and make you be in the game? That's what is quality for me. That's what Ravi Ashwin has demonstrated.
Pragyan? This question was for you. This was addressed to you.
Yeah. No. I'll tell you, yes. As I said, the quality that I like about Ashwin is when he faces a challenge, he doesn't think about what are my weaknesses. He thinks about what can I do to survive. So he's got that when they say survival of the fittest, and he does everything to survive. So once you know what all you have to do and how you can survive, then it doesn't matter. Ashwin knew in Australia what he had to do with the bat. Everybody will talk about it because of that particular innings, India could win that historic test match. He the blows. He made sure that he's there. He was confident. He must have told to himself, even if I don't get runs, I'll make sure I don't get out. So he's trying to survive. And with the ball, yes, everybody spoke about Ashwin has got these many limitations. At times, he was bowling more of those variations than the off spin. People were critical about it. Then he changed few things. So you have to survive. You've seen all these legends who have played for so long. They had the knack of being the survival of the fittest. So that's the reason they have played so much. But I'm not getting Sachin Paji into it because he's a different breed, different category. I'm talking about other legends.
Nice. Gentlemen, I'll tell you something of what the thoughts that came to me when I was watching the match, and I would want all of you to tell me exactly the kind of thoughts as a fan and as a viewer that came in when you were watching the match. What came to me was, that if only every single policy and every single department of India was as good as cricket in India, because you had a legend. You had Ravichandran Ashwin as a very senior player, delivering the way he was, and at the same time you had an Axar Patel who seems to be who seems to have a very promising future, still a kid on the block, and coming and delivering. So we had the past, the present, the future, everything covered, all bases covered in today's match, is what I thought. What did you think of this particular match?
With your permission, I'll take a minute and a half to answer this. One on field, one off field. On field, absolutely, I agree with you. I agree with you because, and we've discussed this, A tours, IPL, BCCI, shadow tours, look at the supply line, Rahul Dravid, NCA, everything falling in place now for India. Look at the supply line, look at the bench strength, look at the Australia series, you have all your answers. Off field, this month has been pretty troubling for Indian cricket because of the Wasim Jaffer incident. And we don't hide in sports today. We speak the point straight. The fact that Wasim Jaffer was accused of communal appeasement was left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth. And there were two things. One, I believe in what Wasim Jaffer is telling you, because it's Wasim's word against the Uttarakhand Cricket Association's word. And I know Wasim for a long, long time to know that there is nothing that tells you that he will do communal appeasement. But he was accused, and then the Uttarakhand Association retracted. Two things were said. One, why did the BCCI not speak up? The matter is an internal matter between Wasim and the Uttarakhand State Association, which is an autonomous body. Wasim did not lodge a formal complaint. So there was no way the BCCI could have spoken up. Okay, number one. Number two, why did cricketers like Tendulkar or the current team did not speak up? What are you saying that these guys are also in it? Basically, they support something like this blame game. Sachin got trolled because of his farmer tweet, choreographed or not choreographed, and got trolled abusively because of Arjun Tendulkar. Now, if you and I or Pragya get trolled and abused every day, 1 minute, Pragya, 1 minute. If you
just one thing, I need to tell you something. You just said Sachin Paji never tweeted about farmers' protest. He tweeted about India together.
Yeah, whatever.
Yes.
So my point is, whatever happened, he tweeted and he got trolled. And by the way, I'm not going into the good bad of the tweet. You want to troll him, you troll him. But all I'm saying is, the four of us here, if we get abused every day, and he got abused for Arjun Tendulkar, he got abused for his tweet, he got abused for... So had he said Wasim Jaffer is correct, there would be a section that will abuse him. Had he kept quiet, he would be abused. So either way, he's damned. Now the current team. Boss, the current team is under contractual obligation with the BCCI. Do they even know what happened in Uttarakhand between Wasim and this? And it's an association matter. If suppose example, Ajinkya Rahane said something, or Virat or Rohit said something, they can even invoke legal censure. You know what? You want to think that these guys are in cahoots? You want to think they do not make a statement? I will say one thing. This team is the one that handed the Indian flag to Mohammad Siraj at the end of the Brisbane Test match. And when Mohammad Siraj was walking, the entire team was walking behind him. Communal appeasement? Ridhima Pathak is 200% right. Wasim Jaffar's incident notwithstanding, this team and this game gives me hope. This is the team that Mohammad Siraj was not a Muslim. He was not a Hindu. He was appropriated and consumed by the liberal, secular, tolerant India that we stand for. That is why Indian cricket, it is what it is. That is why this game gives me hope. That is why we love this game and forever will continue to love this game.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, Pragyan, your perspective of the match today.
I think we were smart. We were smart. Yeah. We used everything well, and we just, as I said, the word adapt is very important. That's what we did as a team, and I think that's where we were ahead. And if you talk about England, their batsmen didn't show the intent. That's how it is. That's how I put it. You need to be smart. You need to know about your surrounding. You need to know the conditions that is given to you. That's when you become lethal, and that's how Indians have become.
Yep, we were lethal, and I cannot use the millennial word now. Sorry. Moving on, Rajeshri. What are your perspective on the match?
Look, it was for me. It's been about resilience for the last several months. I know I repeat that word pretty often on Sports Today, also on the India Today website, because this is what this team means to me, right? The comeback, and this is since look back at 2001. Look back, I keep going back, and a lot of my peers, a lot of my contemporaries, a lot of people younger than me, they kept asking, whether sometimes they draw parallels between teams. You said this, like, do you think this team has the charm of the previous eras? Do you think this team, stands parallelly with teams of the past? For me, I don't like to compare, but I like to compare the characteristics. I like to compare the fighting spirit that teams have shown. Would you say Virat Kohli is better than a batsman of a particular generation, a better captain, etc., etc.? Whether that transpires, that character, the resilience, whether that flows through from generation to generation, that fighting spirit flows through from generation to generation. That's what's important. And this generation of Indian cricketers, they've shown exactly that. That panache, that fight from Saurav Ganguly, Sachin Tendulkar, Dravid, Kumble, it's all coming right round here, isn't it? Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, Ashwin, Rahane, Pujara. It's a concoction of very heady, high feelings. That's all I would like to summarize. That it's a very concoction of heady feelings now.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thanks a lot. I think this win really means a lot for India, but more than anything, everything that is spoken in the show sort of adds to the narrative and the win. Thanks. Yes, again.
Yeah, if I play devil's advocate, England, if I was England's think tank, I have got every reason to look forward to the next test match. I know England is out of the World Championship, but yes, they can play a spoil sport. So yes, there's something left for England. They can play for pride and they can be a spoiled sport. We've seen in
No, series
T20
is not
cricket.
over.
Yeah,
Yep.
Absolutely
yeah,
correct, Pragyan. Series is not over. It can be 2-2.
yeah. It
Also,
can be
Australia will
2-2.
be rooting for England.
Yes. If it is 2-2, I think then Australia has a chance.
Australia goes through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yep, that's how the match has been. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thanks a lot. And I think, in India, every Indian child dreams about scoring runs and taking wickets. And I think two of those gentlemen have actually proved it that it's pretty much possible on your backyard, which is Ravichandran Ashwin and Axar Patel. And you know what the Indians have done today? They have hypnotized the Englishmen to believe that the spin ball is much more potent than the straighter one. So we'll figure out how do they take on the next match. See you soon.